good to see Gyökeres, getting his first goal in the Premier League in the Arsenal colors and at home too. It's going to give him the confidence because there was a lot of pressure on the Swedish striker. People saying he wasn't going to be able to replicate the numbers he had in the Portuguese league, in the Premier League, and he wasn't going to be given the chances that he was being given in the Portuguese league, in the Premier League. And I think, yeah, it's good to finally get that goal, take a little bit of pressure off your back and, move forward and try and improve. I think he does still need some improvements. He does still need to get used to Premier League intensity and defenders and all of that. So I do think, he's not the finished project, definitely not in the Premier League. He still needs to improve on his performances. But I think as time goes on, he's definitely going to be, you know, a good striker for Arsenal. I think some few points to take from the game. I'm gonna try and keep this short because this is not necessarily the big game where there was a lot of analysis to have. I mean, Leeds didn't play well. Arsenal, I honestly don't think Arsenal played that well. The 4-0 scoreline does, imply that they played particularly well, but I think if you're an Arsenal fan, there is still a little bit of concern. Up against Manchester United, they weren't particularly creating a lot of, good chances. And I think same can be said for this game against Leeds. I don't think Leeds were particularly tested in the sense of, chances being created. I think the goals that Arsenal scored were really good goals, two set piece goals, one really good goal from Gyökeres, and then another really good goal from Saka. That didn't really come from, good build up play. I think apart from the Gyökeres goal, I don't think the rest of the goals, especially Saka's goal, I don't think it came from a good build-up play. And Saka was just in a good position, took advantage of being in a good position, and scored a really, really good goal with a good strike. So I think if you're an Arsenal fan, you still have a little bit of concern, going forward, coming up against the big teams that are going to, need you to play a really good football. Like today against Manchester City against Spurs, which I had my match reaction for that. If you're an Arsenal, you probably look at that and be like, if we come up against Spurs, are we going to be able to handle them? So I think Leeds didn't play well and Arsenal were not spectacular. It was a good performance from Arsenal. They took their chances well when they did come, or limited as they were, and yeah, they've got a good result. I think a few points to take from this game. Madueke, an improvement for Martinelli. I think that's clear to see. He's not, a staggering. He didn't have a staggering game um, against his defender. I think his defender did very well to keep him quiet. And I do think Martinelli, Max Dowman, the 15-year-old kid, just got a penalty from them. I mean, I would let him take it. I would really let him take it just to get his first Premier League goal in I mean, that don't look like a penalty. That don't look like a penalty. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, I'm trying to say, Madueke is a big improvement from Martinelli. I think if he can get in more games, improve, from what he is at the moment, he's going to be a big improvement from Martinelli. And I think, yeah, if he can get that in, definitely he's gonna be a big player for them. And I think we've noticed that when players do move to Arsenal and they are a little bit shaky, people do tend to jump on their backs. I mean, with Gyökeres as well, we saw a lot of people saying he isn't going to be as good for Arsenal as he was in Sporting, and he's finally got his goal. And I think it's going to be the same for Madueke. As time goes on, he's going to get some more improvement, and he's definitely going to be a better player. Arsenal still looks shaky. From the Manchester United game, I think Arsenal still looks very shaky. I think Gyökeres is going to be taking the penalty. I'm thinking of my FPL. Sorry, let me get back to the point. Honestly, that didn't look like a penalty, but we'll get back to that. Maybe I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But I think Gyökeres is here, going to be taking the penalty. He is in my FPL. But I think Arsenal still looks shaky. If Gyökeres scores this penalty, it's going to be 5-0. And if you watch the game, I think first half, early stages of the second half, Arsenal didn't create as much chances. Like, I don't think the Leeds goalkeeper had to make a lot of saves. Not because, Arsenal scored 5-0. I don't think, two set pieces, one penalty if Gyökeres scores this, a really good goal from Saka, which, I mean, no goalkeeper is saving that. And I think a really good goal from Gyökeres that, that's the only goal where I say, okay, Gyökeres was in a really good position. Arsenal, created a chance there. But apart from that, I didn't really see Arsenal creating a lot of chances, and I think they did look a little bit shaky. So moving forward, coming up against a really big team, I think that's where they're going to get tested, which they did get tested against Manchester United. And I don't really think there has been an improvement from that. Although this 5-0 lead, Gyökeres scoring a penalty is going to be very, very good. Two injuries for Arsenal. Saka and Odegaard. I mean, with Eze coming in, I mean, that's going to be a replacement for Odegaard directly. But for Saka, I mean, the goal he scored, really, really good goal. But, and you're going to miss a player like him if he's going to be out for a long time. So I think, that's going to be an issue for Arsenal, especially if he's out for a while, is going to be a really big issue for them because injuries are always, going to be an issue. They're going to be an issue. I said this for Spurs last season, and, I said if they get injuries this season, it's going to hinder them. And I think same thing for Arsenal. If they get injuries to key players, especially like players like Saka, it's going to be really, really impactful in a negative way for Arsenal. I think that's all for me. Zubimendi really good. I'm just trying to go through the points I wrote down, but yeah, Zubimendi was really good, very solid on the ball, hardly misplaced any passes. He's really looking like a really good focal point in that midfield three, allowing Declan Rice to really bomb forward without having to worry about always being actively back, doing a lot of defending. So yeah, I think apart from that, the only concern you would have as an Arsenal fan is the way they played in terms of creating chances and the injuries to Saka and Odegaard. Because honestly speaking, despite the goals they scored, again, two set pieces, one really good goal from Saka, and I think the only goal where I'd say they played well was the Gyökeres goal. The first Gyökeres goal was the only goal I'll say they played well. So if you take away the two set pieces and a really good strike from Saka, where no goalkeeper is really gonna save that, because that wasn't even a chance. That was half a chance, and Saka is so good that he's able to convert that half chance into a really, really good opportunity. So if you take those three chances and a penalty again away from Arsenal, you can kind of see this game ending 1-0. And as an Arsenal fan, you are a bit concerned, and we didn't create enough chances because the Leeds goalkeeper, as I said, didn't make a lot of, really good saves for me to say, okay, Arsenal created a lot of chances, but didn't score enough goals. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I'm looking at this as this could have ended 1-0. If they didn't have the set pieces and Saka in their team, this could have ended 1-0. They didn't create enough good chances for me to say, okay, they deserve this 5-0 win. I'm not saying they don't deserve the 5-0 win, but I'm trying to say the 5 goals that were scored, one of those 5 goals only came from creating a good chance on the field, good build-up play on the field, which is Gyökeres' goal. And I think the rest of the goals were just half chances, set pieces, and a penalty. So, yeah, I think going forward, Arteta, will probably have to look into that because I think if they came up against the Spurs today, they probably would have had a tougher time. I think that's going to be the case. And Leeds as well had a really bad set piece record in the championship. But yeah, not taking anything away from Arsenal. 5 goals against Leeds, clean sheet, really good performance from them. And yeah, that's it for me today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as usual, any feedback from you guys will be greatly appreciated.